mentioned a few seconds and we are back here. It is my great privilege to stand here and welcome you on this event, which is apparently the first of its kind in India. This has taken a lot of effort, and thanks to you and your precious time for being here, spending these moments with us makes it really special. I will kindly invite Mr. Dilip. He is one of the directors of Intellize, the expo that has organized the show for you. Mr. Dilip, please, we have a few gifts or tokens that we would like to give to our very valuable guests who have taken all this time and effort to be here with us. I kindly would like to invite Honorable Shri H.R. Gaikwad, Chairman of the BVG India Group. Please put your hands together. The BVG Group apparently is India's biggest integrated facility management system. I would also like to invite Honorable Mrs. Indrani Malkhani, the founder of VCAN. Hands together, please. I kindly invite Mr. Honorable Akhil Sahani, who is the MD of Tadamul Sahani Institutions. That's Mr. Mukund Rao felicitating our guest, the main man behind the show. I kindly invite Honorable Sunita Godbole, President, Women's Legal Forum. I would also like to invite Amaya Kumar Sahu, President, NSWA, National Solid Waste Association of India. Thank you for being with us. I kindly invite Mr. Honorable Raju Parulekar, President, India Pest Control. All right, folks. Behind every occasion, there's a great man, and this great man is Mr. Dilip Raghavan, one of the directors of Intellize. He's a smiling face and has a few words for you this morning before we go into our inauguration session. Please.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for being here, spending your valuable time on a busy morning. Just like to take the liberty of sharing the genesis and the thought process behind creating this event with all of you. All of you have spared your valuable time and in many cases put your faith in us, because this is, as you all know, a startup event. So next year we would have some success, some numbers, some collaterals to show in terms of our efforts, but this time it's been a leap of faith on behalf of all of those who have chosen to support us, and I put on record our deep appreciation towards the same. Mukund, whom you all met just now, and myself, we come from diverse backgrounds, successful in our own rights, and it is a common passion towards this subject that has brought us together. A passion that stems from the need for all of us, while we conduct and transact our busy lives, somewhere down the line we feel that there is a little missing element in terms of the quality of lives that we all lead. And I say this given that besides being the organizers of this event, we're also individually citizens, residents of housing societies, and we feel a certain missing element. It's not something which would suggest a showstopper or some dramatic missing elements in our life. Life does go on and we're leading good lives. But nevertheless, there is still that little missing element that we felt that could be addressed on a broader forum like this. And hence, the conceptualization of HSMS, which is the Housing Society Management Show. What we're getting at is we're all getting more and more successful, which also translates into being more affluent, which translates into being more aspirational, which translates into being more discerning in terms of how we conduct our daily lives. But there is a bit of a dichotomy in terms of what we see around us, the facilities that we see, the manner in which we react to certain essential needs. And we thought a structured format like this would help us create a common forum, create a community where the influencers or the decision makers who can actually help create better societies and consequently create better lives for the residents therein, all of us included, on the one side. And on the other side, service providers and solution providers who are actually out there waiting to offer their services, waiting to offer their solutions to make our lives better. Perhaps if we create this common forum, it creates a fertile breeding ground where we can, of course, partake in the benefits that both have to offer, and more importantly, establish a community, establish a communication, establish a feedback mechanism where the solution providers understand the implicit and the explicit needs of the citizens and the housing societies, and in doing so, translate it better into what they can offer, improving their business prospects, and of course, improving the quality of our lives. So that, in a kind of summary way, is what set us on this particular path. What I'd like to add before I conclude is, of course, the exposition brings to mind a very transactional or a very financial connotation to it, and of course, we are a business house. We're not trying to hide behind any walls claiming to be a charity or something. Of course, there is a business element to it. But nevertheless, there is also a passion, a sense of contribution to the society that drove us to doing this. As I said, had we just been a startup trying to look out for a business opportunity, that would have been a different story. But as I said, we are well established in our own secure zones. But it's this passion to be counted as, let's say, the conveners or the founders of something that could make lives better for all of us. And of course, that aspiration or the want for that recognition is what really drives us. So we have made a humble start. Of course, we have to start somewhere, and we've taken the leap of faith on our behalf and on behalf of those who've supported us. And we dearly invite all of you to be a part of this community, to be a part of this congregation, to be a part of this event, and grow it in times to come, allowing us to fulfill our objectives, allowing it to enrich your lives. And this is not going to be only an exhibition. What we are assembled here is, of course, a 3-day exhibition, but we would like to define mechanisms where we would have a more constant engagement with this community and make it a very multi-dimensional approach towards our service to this industry. So thank you once again for being here, all of you. And we'd like to, of course, not forget our traditions. We'd like to start the event with a formal lighting of the lamp ceremony, and I invite all of you, including our dignitaries, to please join us outside. We'll get started with that and then assemble here for a few minutes once again, and then the floor is open for all of you to have a look at the event.
We also purify the devices as well as we invite the divine waves to guide our path and this very special occasion.
Oh, you've done that. Yeah,
We once again thank all our VIP guests for taking the time and helping us light the lamp.
So there.
Alright, now it's sincere request if you can open your tokens, open your
Photo
tokens
lage हुआ
as a
करो।
magic officially will inaugurate this event.
We would like you to ring the opening bell together. That is your idea. We didn't want to cut the ribbon. I thought this was more
Once again, it is the great honor to welcome Honorable Shri H.R. Gaikwad, Honorable Mr. Akil Sahani, MD, Platinum Sahani Institutions, Honorable Sunita Godgoy, President, Women's Legal Forum, Honorable Raju Parulekar, President, on behalf of International Expo Private Limited, we're very grateful to all our honorable guests for taking time off their special schedules and being here and raising this occasion. Exhibitors and our guests of honor. It is a very proud moment for International Expo Private Limited, Raju Parulekar and Honorable Ameya Kumar Sahu. Once again, thank you so much for being with us. We hope and pray.
हा मग मी वाईट मध्येच आहे बरोबर आहे त्याचे तू व्हिडिओ कर मी फोटो काढतो
as it's supposed to be with us.
सर सर
Okay. So our team representing MCJ.
मागे मागे
चलो अच्छा है गुड
Yes, we will have your MCGM is here.
Honorable guest, Mr. Shri H.R. Gaikwad. But before he comes on board, I just want you to know that this whole event has been organized by a lot of people. There's one man here. We have already received God's blessings outside, but he's got 2 or 3 goddesses here with him, his own family. They've taken the trouble of being here in spite of their age, in spite of whatever troubles they're going through in their life, they're here to shower their son with their blessings. I kindly ask Mr. Rao to receive blessings from his mom. Hands together, please. and his mother-in-law, and his darling sister. Now I kindly invite Mr. H.R. Gaikwad. Sir, please come on board and give us a few words of encouragement, enlightenment, whatever you have. Please share it with us.
Good morning to all. Raghavanji, Mitra Mansingh Pawarji, and all dignitaries. Housing Society Management Show, a new concept we launched to help societies how to manage them well. I really wish you all the best for new initiatives. We in BVG also trying to do something new every day, learning new things. I started BVG to give employment to rural youth with 8 people, and today we are 65,000 people across the country. And Rashtrapati Bhavan in Delhi is maintained by BVG. Prime Minister's House, Prime Minister's Office, Parliament, Supreme Court. Then temples we do. Siddhivinayak, Shirdi, Tirupati, Ujjain, Trambakeshwar, Bhimashankar, all temples we do. And then we started societies also. In Pune we have a couple of societies to maintain. 2.5 years back we started emergency medical services, 108 number. I think you can promote our that number. This is free of cost service to the state-of-the-art services. You have a doctor inside the ambulance. It is a free of cost service to all citizens in Maharashtra. You dial any emergency, any accident you see, any heart attack, anything, chest pain, whatever you have, you just dial 108 number. Ambulance reaches to the spot in 10 to 15 minutes time. It helps people to save the life. If you see accident also, you just call 108 number and tell. Otherwise, people just watch what is happening and don't do anything. So you just dial 108 number and tell them that this is the spot. The victim is lying on the road. Our vehicle will go there and it will save lives. Till now we helped around 1.4 million people. 14 lakh लोगों की हमने help किया है अब तक. लगभग 13,000 childs born in ambulances. Till now 13,000 childs born in ambulances. This is state of Maharashtra. And we helped around 8,000 heart attack, chest pain. We given shocks and revived them. So many things are happening. Every day we are helping around 2,000 people. So I request you all to promote this. This is free of cost to everybody. So I request you to promote this and all the best for these new initiatives, bringing all vendors and service providers together to take it ahead. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Mr. Gaikwad, and I'm tempted to come out of order and address this because what he has done is in many ways, of course, albeit on a scale down level, we resonate with what he has done. Of course, he has a business case and he is running a business very, very successfully. But what he is also doing in running this business is providing huge amount of employment. We heard about the pioneering 108 service where he's providing medical assistance free of cost. And I think this is exactly what we want to do. As we try and conduct this show, grow this community, there will be a significant social element to it which we can subconsciously and consciously undertake. And this is exactly what we want to do. So a few of the things that I wanted to mention is this event is actually being promoted, if that's the right word, or it's being done in harmony with the NCGN. Also the Women's Empowerment Cell, Ms. Goodbole is here. We're also trying to bring all the other stakeholders on board and also look at elements like women's empowerment, look at solid waste management so that we can help our city. You know, there's a lot of talk going about this because we need to be more sustainable as a city, as a community, as we grow. We're also talking about renewable energy. So we are trying to bring in stakeholders from all these particular communities and all these particular slivers of services so that it's a holistic growth. It's not just about identifying those 20 or 30 key things that are needed to run a society at face value, but we're also trying to go a bit in depth and trying to make it more sustainable, make it more environment friendly, bring stakeholders from all genders, all communities on board, and I think that is what makes for a more harmonious society, both in the classical sense of society that we're talking and in the larger sense of society for all of us as a community. So thank you once again, Mr. Gaikwad. Your story is truly inspirational, and we continue to derive inspiration from you, and hopefully you will inspire many others to embark on the successful path that you have. Thank you so much and enjoy this meeting.
Thank you, sir. I would now kindly like to invite Honorable Mr. Akhil Sahani, whose topic of discussion is going to be real estate education. Please come, sir.
So luckily I'm addressing a bunch of seasoned professionals, not a bunch of 20-year-old students. So a lot of you would remember the 1980s when there was this great luxury housing complex that had come up, and they said, wow, this could be the best place to live in, it could be something fantastic. And that complex was Lokhandwala in Versova, right? And all due respect to those of you who were associated with it or living in it, but it came up, but you had these little boxy flats. It was not very airy. You had no infrastructure. You have very narrow roads. Today, Lokhandwala, a lot of my friends live there, but it's not a great place to live, to be honest. I mean, also, again, all due respect to anyone who lives there, but you will not call it by any definition luxury accommodation, right? But when you look at what is considered luxury accommodation today, in 2010, you actually look at builders who are selling their property not based on the land value or how much square footage it is. Like for example, there's a park. I think there's this complex called the Park, which is coming up in Worli. You've not seen a picture of the building in the advertising. All you have is a picture of Aishwarya Rai walking in fields and saying she has a flat here. So because of that, pay a huge premium to live here. Then you have another builder who has chosen to take the name of Donald Trump and put it on top of their towers. Now, I don't know if you know this or not, but Donald Trump has not built any building in the last 15 years. He is not a real estate developer. What he has done, he's a great brand ambassador. So what his model is that he goes to regular real estate developers or manufacturers and says, I will charge you $5 to $10 million to use my people. And so what happened in India is that he came down, if you remember last year, big fanfare. He came down and posted some pictures, did a couple of seminars, got 5 million, went back, and he's got the right to use his name. So the thing is, again, is that look at that real estate industry. Look at, let's say, the K. Raheja group today, Chandra Raheja. Again, they've moved away from residential property. Now they're into developing malls, hotels, shoppers stop. They move into other areas where they're using real estate in different ways. Now, when we look at the way the real estate industry has changed, you also look at even the sort of people involved in the real estate industry. Like again in the 1980s, 90s, your typical broker was this pan-chewing guy with a white safari suit, holding a pan parag, and not very educated. And real estate at that time was, till recently, was a great way to launder black money, frankly, a lot of cases. So not so much anymore. But today, if you look at a lot of the companies which are involved in real estate, they're hiring a lot of educated people, a lot of white-collar workers, a lot of people who are, let's say, MBA graduates, are now looking at the real estate industry as a great place to build their career. Now, this is where it's relevant because we, as our college group, Thadamal Shahani Center for Management and a few other colleges, we were into conventional education, management education, and things like that. We have roughly 350 companies in our network who hire our students, and we had a whole bunch of real estate companies coming to us and saying, look, the problem is today, we have a desperate shortage of talent. When we hire people, none of them know how to sell a flat worth 30 crores, none of them understand the nuances of property development, no one understands anything. Can you give us these trained people? So we started the first professional diploma in real estate management around 2 years ago. And today we are on our 11th batch. One after constant, huge demand. Now what is interesting is that out of the students who have come to our program, a very large chunk of them are real estate brokers themselves. So we wondered why. I mean, like these people in their 30s and 40s, they've worked in real estate for 15, 20 years, and they got experience. So we asked them, why are you coming to this course? I mean, why do you need this real estate education? And what they said was actually quite insightful. They said today in India, trust is a very key component of any business. So in the US, in the UK, you have qualifications and you have accreditation that says if you are a National Association of Realtors member, then you're a certified realtor in the US and therefore you're allowed to sell property. In India, if you, let's say, look at any area where you're selling any property, there are roughly 20 brokers selling the same property. There's actually no differentiator. So what they said is that when we get a professional diploma from in real estate management from Thadamal Shahani, we can take that certification and put it on our wall. It gives us credibility. So therefore, when a customer comes to us, a client comes to us, there's a certain amount of credibility that comes in. Secondly, our understanding of real estate law, real estate financing and property development allows us to go to the Knight Franks, goes to the JLS, goes to all these companies and talk with authority and actually get involved in developing and selling commercial real estate or more complex developments, more management. So the thing is that when you look at the commercial real estate industry today, you are now seeing a whole bunch of more educated people coming into the sector. Now, how does that work with the housing society management industry? Now, if you look at, and again, most of you know this, is that the typical housing society as it was even, let's say, 5 years ago, was classically some old retired uncle, one neighbor, he's sitting on the committee, he's saying it's a thankless job, I retired from maybe government service, so I want to just sit and do some work. The neighbors were not very nice to him. They say, oh, you know, Mr. Shah is parking in my place, or you have Mrs. Mehta is knocking her flat and all plasters falling on our roof. And the society didn't have not many powers to really enforce any rules. The rules were there. They could send letters, but they couldn't really do that much. But again, today, even and again in those days, most society members were happy to say, okay, I've got a clean environment, I've got a place for parking, and that's it. But now where people are now demanding better quality living, where again they're paying 40-50% premium for a flat because Aishwarya Rai lives there, they don't want just 4 walls and parking. They're asking questions like, are you people environmentally friendly? Are you doing solid waste management properly? Do you have solar panels on our roof to make sure electricity costs are lower? They're actually asking more qualitative questions. The uncle who's retired cannot handle those questions anymore. So suddenly, and I was actually really quite pleasantly surprised when I walked in the exhibition today, so many service providers exist to actually provide these services outsourced to societies. So for example, you have fire management, you have solid waste management, you have facilities management companies, huge facilities management companies, and a lot of young talent today, young students don't even know that your companies exist as a place to build a career. So what we see, even though we now have a diploma in real estate management, we are actually actively looking at setting up diplomas in facilities management. Because again, all your companies, all your organizations are now required to hire white collar talent. It's not the classic vocational talent which is uneducated. You now need people with a college graduation or maybe even a master to be able to understand what you're selling and try to promote the quality product to the end customer. So, of course, I think the idea basically for us to be here today is to actually get more involved in the industry, build that relationship towards you, because at the end of the day is that as your industry grows, we see ourselves as education is growing and getting more talented people to be educated and joining our industry. So I wish you all best of luck, and I hope this is a very successful 3-day conference. Thank you very much.
Kindly invite for a panel discussion on affordable housing through Mahara Redevelopment, Mr. Ramesh Prabhu, Chairman MSWA, Mr. Sandeep Kanutkar, and Mr. Nikhil Dixit. Please come up.
Discussion. I am CA Ramesh Prabhu, Chairman of Maharashtra Societies Welfare Association. We are working in this sector, especially cooperative housing society, for the last 26 years. Now the purpose of keeping this session as a beginning session is, now the buzzword is affordable housing. How a person can afford a house in a city like Mumbai? What is affordability all about? As Prime Minister Narendra Modi says, by 2022, by the year that we reach 75 years of independence, we would like to see that everybody will have the house. What is the initiative that has been taken by the government? And especially related to SR and MADA. We'll discuss all about that. And with us, we have today Nikhil Dixit. He doesn't need any introduction, but as a formality, let me just introduce you. He is one of the best of the architects. He is one of the person who has, with MADA, developed the entire layout, about 56 layouts in suburb related to MADA, and he is a regular consultant with MADA. So we thought, and also he is a project management consultant, and his father is also an architect, and his family has involved in the project's developments, approving the plan, and mostly from private, SRA and MADA. all type of projects are being undertaken, and therefore we thought he is the right person to enlighten us about this, about the affordability and how the various schemes work. Then of course we have with the again architect Sandeep Kangutkar. He is also developed, and his father was also an architect, and he is also into various redevelopment projects. And then we have project management consultant Mr. Redkar, Kishore Redkar, and of course Veer Savarkar Sabhagra, which is here I suppose in Shivaji Park. He was one of the project management consultants, where rather the only project management consultant, I suppose he is the only project management consultant who could bring that up, and of course he is right now also into consultancy. With this, I will start the straight away question, and we will take through the first question. I would like to put to Sandeep Kangutkar, just to enlighten what exactly you mean to say affordable housing. We are talking about 2 crore, 3 crore, 5 crore houses in Mumbai, costing rupees 3 crore, 5 crore. How you say that the Mumbai will have a affordable housing, and what is the definition of affordable housing all about?
Thank you first for calling me on this dais and expressing my thoughts in front of this educated crowd. First of all, when you say that affordable housing, so affordability is not something some group of people may think it is unaffordable, and most of the people may not think it is unaffordable. But if you think about the geometry of our city, you can see that 57% people are staying in only single room dwelling units. That means they don't have even that unit as an attached toilet, an attached bedroom, etc. That means they are living in a slum. And 8% people, they don't have even a single dwelling unit. So that is constituting 65% of our entire population do not have proper dwelling units. So the main issue for addressing the affordability is to address this big mass, that is the 65% of the entire population. So at present, suppose if we consider 18 million people are staying in this city, that means 1 crore 80 lakhs. So 65% is a very big chunk of people staying in a very pathetic way. So we have to address this issue and how we can manage the affordable houses to these masses. So the one authority is called as SRA authority, is dealing with this kind of issues. So I can enlighten.
Yeah, I can just add one more thing. As far as central government is concerned, they have defined affordability means the area within Mumbai or metropolitan is 30 square meter, and outside Mumbai or any other place or metropolitan, outside metropolitan, 4 metropolitan, it is called 60 square meter houses. If any house which is constructed less than 60 square meter outside 4 metropolitan, and in metropolitan if it is constructed less than 30 square meter or 30 square meter carpet area, that is called affordable housing. The pricing aspect has never been discussed. But when there was a task force under Deepak Parekh, and again constituted by the Ministry of Housing, central government, they said if a person can sell out his 5 times of the annual income to buy a house. Today annual income of any person could be around, let us say in a family of 2 people, maybe 50,000. 50,000 means 6 lakhs. So 6 lakhs multiplied by 5 times. Maximum it could be 30 lakhs. So within 30 lakhs, it's very difficult to have a house in cities like Mumbai, even 30 square meter. So anyhow, this is what the definition is. So therefore Mumbai is now converted into MMR region, Mumbai Metropolitan Region. So in Mumbai Metropolitan Region, when we talk about Karjat, Panvel, Palghar, Boisar, yes, we have, or Raigad, which is, so of course we have affordable housing over there, coming up over there. So next question which I want to put to Nikki. You have been handling especially MADA. Now MADA, as far as Devendra Fadnavis, since he became a CM, there was a housing policy announcement for the affordable housing, and 2 days session was held in Nagpur. And if you remember, in September 2016, he announced a affordable housing policy. Can you enlighten what is all this affordable housing policy, which may be for a CES building, which is again through the MADA, or it could be for SRA, or it could be a MADA, or any other, cluster development. Can you enlighten us about the various schemes announced by the government about the affordable housing in Maharashtra?
Thank you very much. First of all, I just wanted to enlighten on the two things. When we are talking about affordability, first of the product availability is low cost housing. If we can generate low cost housing, then only we can distribute affordable housing. The basic theme to generate house in a lower cost is pampered in our country, first of all. Basically, MADA is a autonomous body which is developed and which is formed for only generation of affordable housing, and ultimately they already construct and covered their whole land which was allotted by government by way of low cost housing, and they distributed in the affordable housing. Unfortunately now MADA is lack of lands. MADA is they already developed their own land, and now there is only provision where we can redevelop that layouts and we can have again generate some housing. Basically, when we are talking about the government declared housing for all, but this, as I know, first of all, central government of UPA already declared in 2008 for housing for all, and government is now continuing with the same thing, and the state government also wanted to prove that. And the best example for this, if you will go through all regulations in proposed DCR 2034, you can see maximum DCRs are promoting low cost housing by different ways. A bigger plot development in a private is also, there is an inclusive housing. If MADA is there, then no premium, there is a premium. Instead of premium, you have to give a housing. That means this is something promoted by state government and the corporation for Mumbai. But simultaneously, Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, which is declared by this government, which is something a heart of this generation of low cost housing. And if you go through Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana is having so many formulas. It's around 6 formulas where you can generate these small houses, low cost houses, and which will beneficial and which is the absolute beneficial for a generation of your affordable housing. That means government is moreover targeting each and every housing policies with the low cost housing. You can utilize that Awas Yojana in Mumbai also, not only rural areas, like Mumbai also, urban areas also. There are criteria, different criteria. You can follow that criteria and you can go for that. But basically I feel government need to look after something for reduce their particularly on the revenue oriented or premiums. They have to condone little bit on that premiums. Then only you can achieve that affordability. Otherwise affordability, as you said, it is very perfect. Okay, affordability is 30 lakhs rupees in Mumbai, but you cannot construct house because when we are talking about 30 lakhs rupees, that time your land cost in Mumbai, wherever it is minimum 4 to 5,000 rupees square feet. But when this kind of criteria like SRA or MADA land, these are the government land, where these all lands are free. There is no value, you cannot have value for that particular, you need not to convert your land cost to some expenses in that kind of things, where you can achieve this kind of low cost and affordable housing.
I'll ask a question to Redkar, and then we'll keep the floor open because we want more and more participants' question. So, Mr. Redkar, as we find in the being a project management consultant, a lot of redevelopments are happening, and especially SRA and MADA and other things. As a PMC, what exactly you can play a role in, especially for the CES buildings, MADA buildings, related to affordable housing? How you can assist them? What are the role that as a project management you can play?
As we are discussing, it's really difficult. What I find at this junction to play any role in this particular infrastructure for affordable housing. As Mr. Nikhil said, as Mr. Gangutkar said, the land cost itself is a prime issue. Even if construction cost is 2,500 or 2,200, and in CES building also, the land cost, construction cost, other approval cost, and all the things goes very high. So it's really difficult for any organization or anything, any person or any builder or any organization or government organization to go for affordable housing which is below 30 lakhs or which is 20 lakhs, even if government is offering or banks are offering subsidies, low interest rates, even if in that scenario also, at present it's very difficult to go for affordable housing in city, Mumbai city, or in this constituency of Mumbai. That is what I feel at present.
Let us, you have any questions to ask on affordable housing, MADA redevelopment? Anybody? Yeah.
Check my check. Good morning, my name is Jeevan Gowde. I am staying in Mahim. We have Charles, now it is under redeveloped MADA through MADA. But my experience, I am just talking because when we work, I am now senior citizen, I am above 60.
Yeah, please ask the question. Yeah.
The question is whether this new generation, those who work in the good company, earning well, whether this affordable housing concept is, is really suited to them so that they live in nice condition. And another question is about neighborhood. We have good neighbors, those cooperate, and cooperative housing means we have to cooperate with each other. So that aspect is how is tackled.
Okay, I think Nikhil can answer this. One is about the CES building.
Yeah.
How the young generation can work.
See, I understand one thing. See, when we are talking about a low-cost housing or affordable housing, that means that is not a constructed houses for a slums or that. See, affordability means not a low profile house or that is. Basically, this is it depends on, see, when we are talking about houses and low-cost houses and affordable houses, it always compares with the how people are developing unorganizing housing sector. See, slums in our city, slums or this Charles, which is unorganizedly developed, it is an unorganized housing sector. It is not an encroachment actually. That means when we are talking about the lifestyle of a society, that time people will get all benefits, all facilities, all criteria, because that all criteria like gymnasium, office or parking provisions are there for all these houses. That means that society or basic standard of living will not impact with this kind of societies. This is something where you can get a cost wise actually affordable for your pocket. That is a concept. You need not to construct a low style or chawls for that. You can construct a normal building. Only concept of the affordability is the purchaser should pay or afford that particular house. So that is, I don't think that is a criteria in the city, or I think if you will promote for this kind of, and a new generation will impact, or they will say, we don't want to buy this kind of thing. I think they will buy, and they are actually now new generation, they are usually in, I think before my generation, usually people in my father, they used to purchase their own house in the 50s or 45, after 45. But now, all qualified people, they are traveling, they are working with the multinationals, they are earning good. They are interested to have a flats in the age of 20 to 25, 23. And that time, that age, they afford 70 lakhs, 80 lakhs rupees. And that is something, it called in a good term, this is called term in Mumbai, it's a ticket size. It is not, doesn't matter with your size of flat, it is matter with your cost of flat. So that is something, it always believe, people will always cautious for the cost of flat, not the size of flat.
Okay, maybe, yeah. Sandeep Kangurkar, I would like to ask a question before we take the question from there. There is a section 33(5) development control rule. What are the changes, especially in the area that will be given to the MHADA existing people under 33(5) redevelopment?
Actually, Nikhil is the best for because he is handling the MHADA. But I can tell you, initially, before the 5th of January 2017, the authority, the minimum criteria for the houses was 300 square feet. Am I right, Nikhil? And they have increased this cap of, instead of 300, 350 square feet. So 350 square feet, they are offering minimum room tenement size. They are offering to the existing members. And if government is really trying very hard to produce more and more affordable houses. They have really tried very hard. They have introduced even the inclusive housing DC regulation by means of which, if the plot area is more than 4,000 square meter, 20% has to be reserved for the economically weaker sections or LIG group, right? But problem is that this scheme is not applicable to the 33(5), that is to the MHADA properties. This scheme is not applicable to 33(7), 33(9), 33(10), and even 33(14). So, what to do in future? So, the 5th January 2017 says that if the plot area is more than 4,000 square meter, 3 FSI could be used with the premium, and 1 FSI could be used for the affordable houses. So, MHADA will give construction cost to the developer, and they will take these houses in their possession and distribute to the needy people. That this might be the concept. Am I right?
Where is the question? You had a question, yeah.
Sir, according to me, affordable housing is just a gimmick played by all whatever the gimmick is there. Because until and unless MHADA or BMC, the building proposal department, they are charging bribe on per square feet. No builder or any person can who is say I am a developer and I have to get my plans passed. It is not even everything is in right way. I have to bribe.
Okay, well, you can ask the question. See,
so just I wanted to ask you is why there is a debate or say there is a, because affordable housing is just like Lanka सोने की है, देखिए सिर्फ हनुमान जी ने, बाकी सब बोलते हैं कि लंका सोने की है. It is never going to happen in Mumbai at least. Being practical, so what do you feel about this? Because
that's why if you remember in the opening remark only I said in Mumbai we cannot dream of having an affordable housing, though we are speaking about it, but now that has been extended to MMR region, that is Mumbai Metropolitan Region. When we say Mumbai Metropolitan Region, which means up to Karjat or Panvel, and this side up to Palghar, Vapi. So this is how outskirts of Mumbai, even today the houses are available for 20 to 30 lakhs, wherein average family income is around 50,000. And if somebody is getting an affordable housing whose income is less than 6 lakh rupees, Government of India has already launched a scheme whereby 2,40,000 is given as an interest subsidy for a loan of 20 years. Now the government is also putting all its efforts But at the end of the day, yes, I understand scarcity of the land, cost of things have gone up. Now, if you have seen recently, there is a article which has been directed, or rather, government of India has told state government that you should not levy stamp duty on the what is known as affordable housing. Even the central government already has relaxed. They will not levy GST and service tax on the houses which are, as I said, the area of which is less than 30 square meter in metropolitan, up to 60 square meter in other than metropolitan region. So therefore, things have started improving. Now it is not picking up. Maybe as you rightly pointed out, people are waiting and watching, and maybe it will pick up. So we'll see and wait. And of course, corruption has been a big subject, and because of which the old government has gone, new government has come, and it's a buzzword. It's happening, and it's a cancer which is there in the system. To remove it, it takes time, and that is why. If you know, last week when Swadhin Shatira retired as a Chief Secretary of Government of Maharashtra, he has been designated as the Chief Commissioner for Maharashtra Right to Public Service Act 2015. Right to Public Service Act 2015 envisages if a particular work need to be done in a particular time bound action within 30 days or 60 days as per the charter, and if it is not done, we can complain to the particular appellate authority and or the person who has to ensure that service is delivered, and if it is not done, then we can go in the appeal, and 5,000 rupees to 10,000 rupees. 5,000 is the minimum penalty which will be put on the person who has defaulted in service. As it is easier and less said than better, implementation is taking its own time. Let us wait and watch, and let us do best as a citizen, whatever best we can do. Now, yeah, Nikhil.
Basically, first of all, ease of business, ease of doing business is introduced by MCGM. Itself, that is something very good step in, where you can reduce this corruption. We can see results only after 2 years, but I understand one thing, so many things are done in this path basically, where corruption, little bit, systems will change, because everything is now digitally, BMC is following that, everything is digitally, all signs, digital signs, you doesn't require to submit your proposal, you need to mail your proposal, and that kind of thing was already started. Still, systems are not that much friendly with the users, but I believe down the line, after 2 years, we will see good effects in that.
Excellent. You had a question. Sir, just extend the mic there, please. Yeah. I'll come to you. Yeah, you can introduce yourself.
My name is Rajesh Barwani.
Yeah.
I would like you to clarify the paradox, because the central government says within 4 metropolitan cities, affordable housing is which is less than 30 square meters carpet area, and in other areas it is 60 square meters. Now, as per the circular of 5th January 2017, MADA says that minimum tenement which can be given to the allottees will be 350 square feet. Now, if you convert it to square meters, it will be always be more than 30 square meters. So that means all these houses will not come under the definition of affordable housing.
Okay.
Okay.
This is your. Okay.
Yeah, I would like, this point to be clarified. How does it come?
Okay.
Another.
Okay.
Another question.
Yeah.
In a flat cost, there is something which is called a construction cost.
That's correct.
And plus, then there are duties, government, central government, BMC levies, and as you, Mr. Prabhu said, VAT, GST, and it will come and all these duties will be there. Now that thing also, forget about corruption and all, that portion also forms a big chunk, goes towards the construction cost. So if the government really has the intention of decreasing the cost of affordable housing, can the government think on the lines that these duties and levies are reduced to the minimum.
Okay.
Thank you.
Basically, this is something very important question what you ask. When you are talking about affordable housing and the criteria is the 30 square meter, and whereas in MHADA's 5 January 2017 policy, it is said it is enhanced to 27.88 to 35 square meter, which is around 376 square feet area. See, first of all, we have to understand MHADA's 33.5 policy is for rebuilding affordable housing. That was a question asked by us as architects and panel architects always. When you are talking about the criteria of your existing affordable generation is of 300 square feet, how can you restrict redevelopment up to same thing? Because their betterment and their housing requirement is quite big. Because presently they are staying in a 260 square feet, and now tomorrow after redevelopment you are controlling and you are restricting them up to 300 square feet. So that was the criteria, and that was taken by positively taken by government, and they enhanced that particular area to 376 square feet, 35 square meter for reconstruction of MHADA layout. Whereas this is a minimum criteria which is set up for that. Second thing, particularly when we are talking about a 300 square feet or 335 square meter area of MHADA tenement, you have to understand with DCR 33.5 also, because 33.5 having a different telescopic enhancement in carpet areas as per plot area development, size of plot area. If your plot areas will increase, your enhancement will increase. That is something criteria is there in 33.5. That means when we are talking, and compulsory it is not written in that if you need to develop your houses on open plot, then you may develop a 300 square feet houses also. But in a criteria where the minimum entitlement is mentioned for redevelopment, it is a 35 square meter.
As far as taxes are concerned, yes, GST they will be relaxing for affordable housing, and development charges also may be relaxed. Thirdly, the stamp duty already has been advised by the central government to reduce it to the bare minimum, and it is taking off. Maybe it will take some time for it to percolate, and I can only tell you that this Prime Minister has been inviting various stakeholders, state governments through the Ministry of Housing, and he has been giving a target. I happened to meet Aurangabad Municipal Commissioner. He said we have got 4,000 houses target. We have got 80,000 applications for affordable housing. Through the municipal corporations, a lot of housing outskirts of metropolitan is being developed. So therefore, you will find, especially rural area, by 2019, he said 1 crore houses will be provided. How this 1,000 crores, 1 crore in the budget, if you have heard about 1 crore houses by 2019, that is in next 2 years, it will be done in rural area, for which 23,000 crores is allocated as an interest subsidy and interest subsidy for rural housing. Plus there is a refinance which has been done, and a lot of things are happening, and even in the urban area, semi-urban area, it is taking off. So I think every municipal corporation is being given target that you have to complete, and the target they have to meet. Because when he said about 6 crore houses has to be done by 2022, so the target has been fixed. Maybe 50% even if they achieve 3 crore houses, if there is a supply, the rates has to fall. Now look at the initiative given in the budget. No income tax for the builders who are undertaking a affordable housing. Why? Because the supply which is required for affordable housing, it is not happening. So let that supply happen for the middle class. And people who are earning 6 lakh rupees per annum, they are given an interest subsidy of nearly 2,40,000. So you can imagine. So even if it is a 10 lakh houses, I am talking about rural area, so or semi-urban area, 10 lakhs is houses, out of that 2,40,000 is given as an interest subsidy, nearly 24%. So what more you want? And remaining you get this one, what you call loans from housing finance. Refinance is happening at 6.5%. Thirdly, there is a lot of initiatives in the case of interest, the deduction, various things are there. So I think government is working on it, and you will find really affordable housing in maybe next 2 years' time. Yeah, you had some question.
Sir, are there any plans for which unviable projects of a society could be made viable by using the scheme?
Excellent, very good, very good. I think Sandeep Kanmulkar or Nikhil can both substantiate, but I would request Sandeep to tell in advance, and then Nikhil can supplement that.
And sorry to interrupt, is there any minimum requirement of the area of a plot for getting into the affordable housing if it's a redevelopment project? Because maximum redevelopments are for 500 meters, 600 meters. They do not go more than 1200 meters. So it becomes quite difficult.
Okay. So first question is there any scheme for housing society to make it viable under the new development control rules?
To make the project viable, there is no such scheme as at present, very frankly.
That is incentive 3320.
That is
3322.
Yeah, there is a scheme which is proposed in DCR 2034. There are two schemes basically. There are two new DCRs are introduced, which is 3320 and 3322. 3320 is affordable housing, where you can generate low-cost housing and you will get an additional FSI. And another case is a 3322. That is a 3320. And 3322 is a existing consumed area, which is consumed by your existing members. That particular area, as per before suggestion objection, it was said a maximum 40% of additional area with the formula. There is some formula, little bit complex, but it is a formula. You need to work out with that formula how much FSI additional you will get free of cost. So that you need not to buy any TDR FSI, you can get up to 40%. But as we understand that 40% cap will move to little bit higher side, and that is for that particular areas are mentioned for some of the DCR, because in 1991 TDR provisions were there, and so many buildings are developed, and that buildings are under again repair and other redevelopment process. So that particular areas where now redevelopment is not possible, but you can reconstruct that buildings because of the non-viability of that redevelopment project. You can operate in that particular DCR 3322, where you can get an additional FSI with the that incentive FSI, which is consumed as per your existing plans.
Nikhil, the DCR which that says that the FSI cap is 2. It is not said that it is over and above, because in other cases it is said that it is over and above. So as per my experience is that this DCR will not serve the purpose for producing the affordable houses. So I would suggest to the government, this is my opinion, personal opinion, that the existing built-up area, whatever, this 40%, 50% should be over and above the permissible built-up area, right?
That is in DCR 22, they said the additional FSI as per your ready reckoner, again that comes with your ready reckoner rate, that formula. And additional FSI, it is 37%, 42%, 50%. That particular FSI is over and above your consumed FSI. Over and above your consumed FSI, with the upper limit of cap as per new DCR. But in that case, if your proposal is non-viable, any proposal is non-viable in two cases. You can't afford to pay that premium, or you can't afford to buy that TDR, and you cannot offer to additional area to member. So in that case, you can have a self-redevelopment module in that, where you can run with some banks, where you need not to buy anything from government. You need not to buy anything from market. It is a self-submission with the bank provision. You can have that thing in that. But there is a provision. I don't know how it will operate, because this is a new DCR.
So just a small clarification, it would be under what planning authority? MADA, SRA or BMC?
I will tell you, planning authority for everything is the BMC. SRA is a special planning authority for slum redevelopment only. So always planning authority, we have one planning authority which is a BMC, and MMRD and SRA is a special planning authority. Where they are absolutely separate.
Okay, any other question? Okay.
Yeah.